Hey guys, Ricken here, and welcome to VR news for the month of August. I've got a bunch of news to share with you guys today, so without further ado, let's get into it. First up, Zenith, the cyberpunk MMO in development for all 6 DOF headsets, has smashed its goal on Kickstarter. Its original goal was $25,000, and now it's sitting just below 180,000. They've got a few stretch goals left to hit, so if you guys would like to go and check out the Kickstarter, the link will be in the description. Next up, we have some unfortunate news from Valve that they will be cancelling their Virtual Link cable adapter. And what this cable was going to do is it was going to essentially combine all of the outputs from the index and condense it into one cable connection, because it would have been the HDMI connection, the USB connection to the headphones, and also the power adapter. But they said the cable was very unreliable, so I guess it's better to have more connections than connections that don't work. Coming up next, Argos, the UK retailer, recently listed the Vive Cosmos on their website, and they leaked the price. The price was £699, but seeing as the Rift S is $400 in the US and $400 in the UK, then I'm thinking they won't change it due to the value of the dollar, so it's probably safe to say that the Cosmos will cost $700. Unless this is just a placeholder price, but you can't be sure. Now this is a pretty interesting one. If you take a look at the SteamVR charts, you can see that Oculus accounts for almost 50% of the headsets used on SteamVR, with the CV1 accounting for 41% of the market share. The Rift S is not too far behind at 9%. They're just edging closer and closer to majority of the headsets used on SteamVR, and I think they can totally do it. Depending on which side of the fence you're on, this could be seen as a good thing or even a bad thing. Now this next story could potentially mean nothing, as it's just a patent, but Oculus have released a patent for a Glove VR controller. This is something I've always had in mind as the premium VR controller, so I guess we'll have to see where that goes. Next up, I've got a bit more Cosmos news for you, and that they will be announcing the release date on September 12th. September 12th is not the release date, but seriously, we know it's going to be in September because they said a Q3 launch. Unless they're not sticking to that anymore, but they haven't said anything otherwise, so I'm not entirely sure on that one. And finally, the Stormland developers, Insomniac, were recently acquired by Sony. And if you don't know, Insomniac are also the people who worked on Spider-Man PS4, so Sony already has experience with them. But what does this mean for Stormland? It is still coming to the Rift, but will it come to PlayStation? It's certainly a possibility, and I wouldn't be surprised if it does, but it is still coming to the Rift, certainly. So now we are on to the new games released this month. First up, we have Until You Fall by Shell Games, previously known for I Expect You to Die. This game was received incredibly from both me and the community. Next, we had Cron, Attack of the Squirrels, and this game was received pretty well. It released for the Rift and Quest, but I don't think there's enough reviews to give it an official rating just yet. Next up, we have a very contrasting game to the last one. We have an official Westworld game from our friends at Servios. This was received very well from the community. I haven't personally tried it out yet, but maybe since all these reviews have been coming out, I might just give it a shot. Of course, there were many other great games that came out this month, but those were just the most notable ones. So, I hope you all enjoyed this episode of VR News for the month of August, and I will see you guys next time.